All right, this is lesson 9. We're going to be adding and subtracting and multiplying fractions and talking about what reciprocals are. Again, this is review, but you guys have had a summer off, so I want to make sure your brains are firing on all cylinders when we start the new material for pre-algebra. Again, this is warm-up. I want you to go ahead and try that out. Go ahead and look and see, what do you think the next 4 numbers in this sequence are? Notice, see if you notice any pattern. I'll even help you out. What it's really doing is saying 1/16, 2/16, 3/16, 4/16. That's what we have listed here. This and this have been reduced from 2/16. This was 2/16, 3/16. This was 4/16, but reduced. So then the next 4 numbers would be 5/16, 6/16, but that actually reduces to 3/8. Now 7/16, 8/16 reduces to 1/2. Okay, so 1/8, 1/4, 3/8, 1/2. And that's it. Sorry, I guess there's just supposed to be 4. All right, so in that case, I did the warm-up with you kind of quickly. And now we're going to just go ahead and start adding and subtracting fractions and remembering how do we do it. All right, these ones make me happy. Why do they make me happy? Because they all have the same denominator. They have the same bottom. So all we need to do is add those babies up. And that turns into 1 plus 2 plus 3. We get 6/7. All right, couldn't be much prettier or easier than that. Now, if we are going to add percents, it's the same deal. 33 1/3 plus 33 1/3. Now, because we have the same denominators, we could go ahead and add the whole numbers, which would be 66. And then 1/3 plus 1/3, since they have the same bottom, is 2/3. So when we add those, we get 66 2/3%. Example 2. Again, isn't this nice? Same bottom. 3/5 plus 2/5. We're going to have fifths as the bottom, and we get 5 of them. That 5/5 is 1 whole. So that was nice. Okay, example 3. Find each difference. Again, I see ninths, so that makes me happy. And it's pretty easy because I don't have to do any borrowing, because if we have 5/9, we can take away 1/9. So our fraction portion will be 4/9, and 3 take away 1 will be 2. So 2 and 4/9. 3/5 take away 3/5. Well, anytime you have something and you take away the same amount, guess what you're going to get? 0. All right. Example 4. Now we're going to do products. 1/2 of 1/3. Now I want you to remember that the word of means multiply. Maybe I'll write it right here. Of means multiply every time. Okay, anytime you see the word of, it means multiply times. Did I say that a billion times? Yes, I did, because it's important. So 1/2 of 1/3. Now I ran out of space. I'm going to have to write small. In order to do that, it's going to look like 1/2 times 1/3. Now, when we are doing fractions, I want you to keep them on top. Don't do things like this, because it gets confusing as to who is going to go with who. Who's the bottom, who's the top. Visually, it's more difficult to work with when we are calculating. So I want it to look like this. 1/2 times 1/3. Now, this is review. When we multiply straight across, and they do not need to have the same bottoms. I love multiplication because you do not need the same denominator. So when we multiply, we get 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 3 is 6. So you get 1/6. Okay, now here we are on this one. We have 3 things that multiply together, but the same deal. We multiply straight across. And I looked because I love cross canceling, but I don't see any common denominators that would allow us to cross cancel. So we're going to just go ahead. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 4 is 8. Times 5 is 40. So our final answer is 3/40. Good times. All right, the product of a fraction and its reciprocal. Oh, what is that talking about? It means if I have the fraction 3/5 and I multiply it by its reciprocal, reciprocal is when you flip it, the bottom goes up and the top goes down. When we multiply those, what do we get here? I noticed that they could cross cancel. Or what happens is we get the same thing. So when we multiply a fraction by its reciprocal, every time the product, the answer when they multiply, will be 1. Okay, find the reciprocal of each of these numbers. Like I said, the bottom comes up, the top goes down. The numerator and the denominator switch spots. They just change positions. Okay, so now we have 5/3. That's the reciprocal of 3/5. Oh, how do we do this? If our denominator goes up and our numerator goes down, this guy doesn't have those, right? Wrong. Every whole number is in fact a fraction with a numerator and a denominator. You just need to show what is not visible. Every whole number is over a 1. That means 3 wholes. So if we want the reciprocal of this, the 1 goes upstairs and the 3 goes downstairs. Okay? And that was example 5. Looks like I jumped to... Oh, I lost my spot. Sorry, I lost my actual page. Here it is. That was example 5. Why did I... Things got a little confusing, but sorry. Go ahead and look in the book. I must have skipped an example. All right, so here's an example, and then on your paper, I'm noticing this is wrong. This is lesson 9 practice. It should be. Not 7 on your paper, so fix that. Our last example is how many 3/4 are in 1? What that means is this. What goes in here? How many 3/4 are in 1? It just means 3/4 times what equals 1? Well, because we just said when you multiply a fraction by its reciprocal, you get 1. So how many 3/4 are in 1 would be 4/3. Okay? These are weird. It's not necessarily the way I would have taught it, but it's just, it's how you do it. So, sorry about that. It might be new. We won't use it too much. All right, now this jumps to lesson 9 practice. So I wrote all the practice problems out for you. And again, I want you to do that and check your answers and correct the ones that you made mistakes on. And you just have one more lesson before we are going to start class together in September. So enjoy these. We have one more, lesson 10, and you'll be ready to see me at the beginning of school.